Committee on Public Safety, Infrastructure, and Maritime Transportation calls this public hearing to order. It is now 6 p.m. on Wednesday, June 25th, 2014. With me this evening is Senator Aline Yamashita. Senator, thank you for joining us tonight. The purpose of this public hearing is to receive testimony on Bill 355-32 COR, which is an act to authorize the Department of Public Works, Government of Guam, to acquire lot number 150-R3-1R/W in Maritime, Guam for the Pigua Bridge Reconstruction Project. Notice of this public hearing was provided to senators, stakeholders, and the local media on June 18th, 2015, and the 48-hour notice was provided on June 23rd, 2014, thus meeting the requirements of the Open Government Law. This public hearing is also being broadcast on local television GTA Channel 21 and Docomo Channel 117, so I ask that all those providing testimony please speak clearly into the microphone so that the folks at home who are watching on TV will be able to hear everything. I would like to announce for the record that I have adjusted the deadline to submit written testimony on Bill 355-32 due to the scheduling of a session next week. The new deadline will be 5 p.m. on Monday, June 30th, 2014. And if it is possible to place this bill on the agenda, then we will try to do so. So that's the reason for adjusting the deadline for testimonies. On the testimonies, please address testimony to Senator Thomas Sieta, Chairperson, Committee on Public Safety, Infrastructure, and Maritime Transportation. We will now receive testimony on Bill 355-32 COR. And the way we will proceed is that we will receive testimony from the Government of Guam, particularly the Department of Public Works. We will then receive testimony from members of the public, and we will then open the floor to the committee for questions and answers. Before we go further, I do want to acknowledge the presence of Mayor Charglov from Maritime. Thank you, Mayor, for joining us this evening. And so with that, Mr. Director, if you go ahead and introduce your folks that you got with you, and then proceed.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and Senator Yamashita. Mr. Chairman, thank you for introducing the bill and inviting us to testify on it this evening. I'm Carl Dominguez. I'm the Director of the Department of Public Works. To my left is Mr. Jeff Wilson. He is with Parsons Brinkerhoff, our design consultant on the bridge project. To my right is Assistant Attorney General Tom Keeler. He's our legal counsel on highway matters at the Department of Public Works. I have written testimony. I would like to read it to you, please. Dear Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, the Department of Public Works supports Bill number 355-32 COR to authorize the Government of Guam to acquire an area of 240 plus or minus square meters of the late Mr. Ignacio Bautista Cruz's lot number 150-R3 Maritime by eminent domain. Mr. Ignacio Bautista passed away on February 3rd, 2003.
I believe the middle name is not
Cruz.
Bautista. It's Bautista Cruz.
Bautista Cruz. Okay.
That's for the record.
All right.
Thank you, Mr.
We'll check that out, Mr. Chairman. Okay. All right. Okay. This small portion of the Cruz lot is needed for the reconstruction and widening of the Billy and Pigua Bridges project, known as the project in Maritime. Mayor Ernest T. Chargaloff and the residents of Maritime have overwhelmingly endorsed the project because of the following benefits the new bridges will bring to the community. They will replace very old bridges, Billy, which was built in 1968, and Pigua, built around 1930. The existing bridges in 2004 were determined to be structurally in serious to critical condition and subsequently were restricted to one-lane traffic. The new bridges will be longer than the old ones, allowing more storm water to pass underneath them during storms. This will reduce the risk the bridge, road, and surrounding properties will be flooded. There will be new paved shoulders on both sides of the bridge, allowing cyclists and pedestrians to cross the bridge safely. The bridge structure will have corrosion-inhibiting admixture and epoxy-coated rebar in the concrete to extend its service life. Since the spring of 2013, DPW staff and agents have made numerous attempts to initiate negotiations with the heirs of Mr. Ignacio Cruz. Specifically, Mr. Rodney Cruz, son of Mr. Ignacio Cruz, was written to on May 28th and 30th, 2013, July 18th, 2013, October 28th, 2013, February 12th, 2014, and May 30th, 2014. His sister Donna Milliken, who resides on the property, was also written to on February 12th, 2014, and May 30, 2014. It was only yesterday that an attorney, Mr. Vincent Leon Guerrero, confirmed with our legal counsel, Assistant Attorney General Tom Keeler, that he has been formally engaged by Mr. Rodney Cruz to proceed with the probate of the estate of his late father, Ignacio Cruz. The government needs to acquire an area of 240 plus or minus square meters of Mr. Cruz's main lot, which is designated as lot number 150-R3-1-1RW, as described on the severance maps recorded with the Department of Land Management on October 9th, 2013 under instrument number 857237 and on June 23rd, 2014 under instrument number 866524. A copy of the latter severance map is enclosed for your easy reference. The area of the parcel to be acquired is only 4.9% of the main lot's 4,897 plus or minus square meters, and its taking will not hinder access to the main lot. The department was originally looking to obtain a larger portion of the lot. However, owing to the heirs' lack of cooperation, the proposed acquisition was scaled back to the minimum area needed to meet safety and compliance requirements. In this respect, the 240 plus or minus square meters is needed for the removal of the existing highway improvements, including asphalt pavement and the old guardrail, new bridge elements, including portions of the foundation, abutment, deck, bridge railing, and approach slab. A portion of the asphalt paved approach roadway, approximately 40 feet long by 6 to 14 feet wide, with flares at the bridge. Approximately 60 linear feet of new steel guardrail, a safety requirement at the bridge approach area, a bioswell providing natural water quality treatment and directing stormwater runoff from the bridge approach area to the Pigua River, an environmental compliance requirement, and finally a new concrete power pole replacing an existing pole which is in conflict with the new bridge. The department obtained 2 appraisals, both of which were filed earlier with the legislature. The appraisals determined that the fair market value of the parcel is $23,600. The project has been under planning and design since 2008 and at a cost of over $700,000. Bidding has taken place and the $3.7 million construction contract has been recently executed by Governor Calvo. All that remains for the construction to proceed is the issuance of the building permit and acquisition of the subject lot. In closing, obtaining title to lot number 150-R3-R1W Mauricio is the final step needed by DPW to move forward with the project. Although it now appears that the department's exhaustive efforts to engage Mr. Ignacio B. Cruz's heirs has finally gotten a response, the department still seeks the legislature's authorization to proceed with eminent domain to acquire the parcel to ensure that the construction on the project will begin without further delay. Thank you for introducing Bill 355-32 COR and for giving the DPW the opportunity to testify in support of it. Sincerely, Carl Dominguez.
Thank you very much, Mr. Director. Mayor Chargoloff?
Thank you, Senator Dana. For the record, my name is Ernest Chargoloff, and I'm the Mayor of Mauricio. Senator Aline Yamashita. I come here to just ensure that the individual has his just compensation, and I see everything in order, and more so the safety of the people that would eventually traverse through those bridges. And I see that there's an allocation for that concern. So, uh, being that the individual will be justly compensated, and that the government has already exhausted whatever means they can to negotiate with the individual. But because of the probate matter, I'll leave that up to the court and to the government to hash over. But I'm convinced that the government has done its legwork, and the individual will get compensated with, and that the safety aspect of those bridges for those people that have to traverse afterwards are addressed at this time. So I have no objection, and I fully support the bill that's on tonight.
Thank you very much, Mayor Chargloff. Um, if there's nothing else, I'm going to go ahead and open it up for whatever questions we may have. Senator?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Good evening to all of you. Mayor, thank you for being here. Vice Speaker Nelson, thank you for joining us in the hall today. So now this is my question, Carl, Mr. Director. We've exhausted the efforts, as the mayor has said, but yet now Mr. Leon Guerrero has stepped forward in the name of the family. So, so what does that mean? So if we get this passed into law, and Mr. Leon Guerrero represents the family, what does that mean?
I'd like to defer your question over to Assistant AG Tom Keeler. He'll explain.
Good evening. Ideally, what it means is that the government and Mr. Cruz and his counsel are going to be able to work out a agreement, and that it won't be necessary to move forward with the condemnation, even if authorized. But at this stage, we don't know whether that's going to be the case.
So it really is a timing issue, right? We need to proceed for our families in the South, and us in the North who go to the South, so, okay.
Yeah, I believe the government intends on breaking ground in August, and if we don't have the condemnation, we can't meet that deadline.
And then we'll lose money? Will we lose money if we don't do it by August?
As I understand it, and maybe you can confirm this, Jeff, is the contractor would have grounds to file a monetary claim for delay, as well as seek a time extension on the contract period.
That's correct.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Please help me understand. The contract for the construction has already been signed and ready to go, and I guess the contractor now is just waiting for a notice to proceed to be issued. But I imagine in the signing of that contract, there was probably some stipulation there that we're looking at starting the project at some certain time, so that to give the contractor some time to mobilize his workers and whatnot. What was the underlying assumption in going ahead and entering into that contract, stipulating a reasonable start date, knowing the fact that we haven't acquired this one piece of lot?
A reasonable degree of confidence that we could acquire the third and last lot through eminent domain. And if Assistant AG could explain that I think there is a way to acquire it fairly quickly with this process.
But it also presumes that the legislature was going to be able to act on it. Now, I'm certainly going to try and get the bill reported out and try to get it on the session agenda for the session that we are having next week. But if that is not possible, then it's hard to say, when the next session will be that we can put it on. It could be sometime in July, or it could be sometime in August. So it kind of presumes that also.
And I would say to you, Mr. Chairman, that and we took a risk. We took a risk by executing the contract, but we felt it was a reasonable risk to take. I reiterate that the planning for this and the money that's been expended has been long and expensive, and bridges need to be replaced. I mean, they do. They're in serious to critical condition as it is.
What is the sequencing that's envisioned for the construction of this bridge? Is it going to be, you're going to start on one bridge and work towards the next one, possibly by giving you more time to get the authorization to actually exercise eminent domain, or were you envisioning actually construction on both bridges simultaneously?
One moment, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, I can answer it. So the sequencing, it does. You're correct in that it does buy a little time, but we don't have the contractor's schedule in front of us to know how they wanted to sequence their work. But speaking on behalf of how it usually goes, what would happen would be one crew would start one, and rather than, and not every crew does every job, so they would move to the other site for efficiency and continue their work, whether it's demolition or whatever. But so there is a little time, but if they're not able to move to the next structure, they have to demobilize that equipment and move off and then come back, and that's where the costs and the delays come in. So it's hard to put a number on the exact delay, but I think that there's some time in there. Generally speaking, it's not months. It's weeks.
And I just want to make it clear that as far as this committee is concerned, we're going to do our utmost to try and expedite, the getting this bill on the agenda. But there's this. We're just one. We're just a committee, and it really is going to take a larger body to decide when this bill can be put on the agenda, and in addition to that, also getting the votes necessary to pass the bill. So I'm remaining optimistic that we can move this along so that we can get started on that project, but I'm also being realistic as to what are some of the challenges that we may be facing. Can you just clarify? We're basically acquiring 240 square meters of property. How much of that, let's say proportionately, is going to be dedicated for the bioswell?
Well, probably somewhere in the 10 to 15% area. It occupies. There was an exhibit that was done. It's more of the kind of the northwestern part of the parcel, but in that area, the bioswale is more or less up against the taking. We've brought those lines in to the minimum amount possible, realizing there's some grading and other things that have to take place to make that function properly. And so in that second exhibit, it shows that it occupies that edge, but we would need that. The bioswale really is more or less that whole, along that whole edge of that parcel.
So the majority of the property that's being taken, the bridge will actually be sitting on the majority of that, and about 85% of the property of the 240 square meters that's being taken.
For the bridge, the guardrails, the grading for that, as well as the new power pole, and that would be correct. So,
Okay. What is the basis for how much the owner will be compensated for this land taking?
It's based on two appraisals by licensed appraisers.
And how recent are these appraisals?
They were done in the fall of 2012. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you for reminding me. The reappraisal was just recently, past May.
May of 2014.
Yes.
Okay. Now, help me understand what happens then if the bill gets on the agenda, it gets voted on, and um, and authorization to exercise eminent domain is granted by the legislature. Um, is that it? Is that the end of the process, or does the landowner have any recourse after that?
No, absolutely. And again, hopefully now that Mr. Cruz has engaged counsel, we would hopefully be able to work out an agreement. In the absence of an agreement, the funds would be deposited into the court, and at that point, Mr. Cruz and his counsel would have the option of either evaluating it and determining that they agree that it's fair value, fair compensation, and they would just simply take it, be awarded it, or they have the ability to challenge the valuation. In court, yes.
Now, if the landowner decides to challenge to take this matter to court to challenge it there, does that put a hold on your project?
No, title to the property vests with the deposit of the funds in the court.
Okay.
So the only thing that would be at issue after that would just simply be the valuation.
The fact that the property is still in probate, does that have any effect?
It's actually not in probate yet. That's one of
It's
the
not.
problems. No, the title is with Mr. Ignacio Cruz, who's deceased. So hopefully an estate will be opened in the near future. So the procedure would be that this condemnation is either going to be in conjunction with the Superior Court and the probate court, or if we're unable to reach an agreement, what we envision is opening up a special probate, which would be for the sole purpose of being able to open the probate, deposit the funds with the court in order that we can move forward with the condemnation. And then the probate case would take its normal course from there.
Okay, fine. One last question. Is the issuance of the notice to proceed contingent upon passage of Bill 335?
I don't think so, no. No. I don't know that for sure, but I don't think it is. It's not written into the contract. What I know this evening is that the contractor is in the process of obtaining a building permit, and normally after obtaining the building permit, then we would normally issue the notice to proceed. When that building permit is issued, at that point in time, we'll make a decision on how to go forward with the project. That is, do we actually issue a notice to proceed then, or do we delay it?
Okay.
And then be subject to some possible claims for delay.
And I guess what I'm trying to establish is the passage of Bill 335 or action on Bill 335 a time-sensitive matter. In other words,
Yes.
Very, very time sensitive.
It would be a business decision whether or not to move forward, but it's critical to the project.
okay, all right.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So in the following the line of questionings that Senator Atta has asked, if then the estate disagrees with, we get this passed and disagrees with it, really their recourse is not to get the land back, but the recourse would be the amount of money that has been appraised?
That's correct.
Okay. And then the second thing, Director Dominguez, is what is the funding source for the $23,600, and is it available?
Yes, it's federal highway dollars, Senator.
So you would be able to actually take that money and give it to the estate?
To the estate, yes.
Okay.
To the estate, yes.
Thank you.
Do you have any more to add? I don't have any more questions unless there's anything else you want to add. None? Okay. Well then, there being no other questions, the Committee on Public Safety, Infrastructure, and Maritime Transportation deems Bill